Right, hello YouTube. Guten Tag, bonjour, or instead of guten Tag or bonjour I should say hello and salut. Okay, I have had a few kind of requests, I think, actually, to talk about our bilingual family. I suppose we are in a way. So I did already do a video on this and then I deleted it because it was horribly long and actually I thought in places rather boring. So I have decided to split this up into nice bite-sized chunks. At least I'm going to try to. So that, well, it's how I would rather watch it if I were you guys. I mean, you don't want to watch a 15-minute part one, do you? So here we go. In this video I am going to briefly discuss what bilingualism is. I'm sure you all know anyway. And not going to, well, our history, our bilingual family history, our background. And then maybe whatever comes after will make a bit more sense. If I do use any technical terminology, I apologise in advance. I will explain it in the box below. Have I got it right? Below, yeah, down there. Okay, I probably won't write anything in there now, will I? Anyway, first off, what is bilingualism? Right, I looked this up online. I mean, obviously I know anyway, or I had my own ideas of what I think bilingualism is. Online, the online dictionaries say bilingualism is having the ability to speak two languages fluently, one native language and you have another language that you speak to a near native level. By that definition, I myself am bilingual, I just realised, because obviously I grew up speaking English. I grew up in Wales, and I learnt German. I started learning German when I was 20, and I live in Germany now and speak it every day, so hence I suppose I am bilingual too. My ideas of what I thought, or what I even still think truly bilingual is, comes down to a definition. Here I am getting into terminology after all. Definition, and this distinction rather, between acquired language and learnt language. Acquired language is what you learn, well, not you, what you acquire, sorry, learn. You don't learn it, you acquire it as your mother tongue. For example, if both your parents speak English and you grew up in an English-speaking country, your mother tongue and your acquired language is English. Then if you go to school and you learn French, German, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, whatever, that is a learnt language, if you say learn it after the age of about 7. And by learning I mean someone literally sits there and teaches you the grammar, the vocabulary, you do vocabulary tests, you go home and you swat and you learn the language instead of just soaking it in the way you do when you're a very young baby and child, or even in the womb you're also soaking language in then. Now, when I talk about bilingualism for my son, what I'm aiming for is the acquiring. I want him to acquire both German and English, so he's going to soak in, at least that's the plan, German and English, so that hopefully they end up at a similar level. His German will probably be a bit better seeing as he's growing up in Germany, but that's normal. Okay, so that's bilingualism. A bit about our background. Right, myself first. As I said, I'm a Brit, English mother tongue. I started learning French in school. So my French is school French, and I did it also at university, and did study it to, well, God, if I even admit so myself, a very high level. I studied it to master's level and then became an A-level teacher of French, which would be, I think, in the States. Well, not the States. Let's say generally, so everyone gets an idea of what A-level French is. It's what you learn so you can, it's the level you learn to rather, so that you can go to university and study the subject there. So I taught that. And then when I was 20, I fell madly in love with this German guy, not my husband, someone else, and shot off to Germany and thought, hey, I'm going to learn German, as you do when you're young. But it was not a bad idea. It turned out to be, well, it turned out to be very good for me career-wise and personally, so I'm glad I did. So after studying my bachelor's, I then did a master's in translation, French and German to English translation. I worked as a translator for a while before I realised my true calling was to be a language teacher, and I became a French and German, as I said, language teacher up to A level, which was a bit of a surprise for me, but that's what my boss said. I want you to teach A level. I was like, okay boss, I will. Cheeks. Okay, right. My husband's history or background, he is German, and he grew up in Germany, obviously, in the region of Franconia, where we are now. And yeah, let's see. I could speak German before I met him, and he could speak English before he met me, but not fabulously. He'd learned it at school and hadn't actually liked it. It was a very bad experience with his English teacher at school, who was also his sports teacher and used to pick on him, apparently. And yeah, but since we've been together, his English has improved, and we lived in London for quite some time. So we lived in Ireland and London for quite a good few years. So we are both, the situation now in our family is that my husband and I are fluent in both languages to the extent that we can go back and forth between German and English in one sentence, which is not good. You shouldn't do that, but well, we do it anyway. We try not to do it in front of our son. So that's it so far. I'm going to round this up before it gets too long and the whole thing ends up like hours and hours long, because I don't want to bore you guys. If you have any questions, I will be doing more videos, but if you have any more questions on bilingualism, our family in general, so I know what to put in the next few videos, go ahead and ask them. I'll try to keep the next ones a bit shorter. What I want to go on and talk to you about in the next few videos though are what we are doing as a bilingual family, how we are working towards our son being bilingual, the measures we're putting in place, or not measures, the habits we're trying to build up, things I've noticed so far, so things I've observed with my son, challenges I've also observed with my son, and just my general knowledge also about bilingualism, and I'll do some research as well. What are the challenges that generally tend to face families, and how can they go about doing their best to ensure that their child grows up bilingual. Okay, but as I said, any questions, please pop them below as a comment. Bye bye.